Hello and welcome to another episode of Hot Mess Magic. Today we have Robyn Tanner with us. And Robyn, I just like to jump right in and ask, at your core, at your being, at your essence, who are you?
I love this question. I say the same thing every time. I'm a fighter. I am definitely a fighter, a warrior, but I am a writer. I'm a rebel. I'm a line leader. I'm a black sheep. I'm a writer, author, hopeless romantic, you name it. But I'm all about being in the grit and the guts and the God energy. I like the adversity, the resilience, the overcoming. I am somebody who stands up, speaks up, and isn't afraid to fight for myself and fight for my dreams.
I love it. And it's so true, I feel, just of Gen X women.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we were bred on that like hard work,
Exactly.
like get some dirt underneath your fingernails, go for it, get out there and be fierce and pretty much unstoppable. Like my book, I'm the author of The Machete Mentality, and it's pretty much find a way, make a way. Like there is always a way to clear a path for whatever that dream is, that desire, that goal, that hope. So I'm the one that fights for that, not only for myself and my family, but for others.
Yeah, and in that fight, in that survival essence, you've lived homeless with your kids, you've endured 13 surgeries. What's one part of survival mode no one tells you about, and how does it still haunt you today?
Man, Michelle, that's a straight out the gate like gut question. I'm known for my gut punches, but survival mode, man, it's so easy to stay there. It's so easy to wear it as a badge of honor. You are not meant to stay in survival mode. So I used to, and I don't think anybody tells you that. Like we pride ourselves, especially our generation. I'm 48. Yeah, mom of two, been through divorce, been through quite a bit. And that pride of I made it through, I did this on my own, I overcame. You don't stay there. You're not supposed to stay there. And we tend to sit in it and then use it as our story for life. And it's supposed to just be a chapter. And I don't think we talk about that enough, that we should not be wearing survivor mentality as a badge of honor, as a label, as an identity, that it's something we pass through. So I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I don't hear enough about. I like to communicate it about. And I think the other thing you asked was what got me through, or
Yeah, like how no, well, how did you get through? Yes, like let's get into that because that's one of the things that also we don't talk about enough is to like when you're going through that survival thing and when you're coming out of it, like how
yeah,
does one like navigate out of it? But also how does it still haunt you today?
yeah, that
Because
was,
we
yeah.
like because we know that we've all been in survival mode and it still creeps in.
Yeah, that was, I think how it still haunts you is it's always a part of you. So I think adopting it as this is an identity and a person and a version of me that is now on my team. Like she isn't somebody, I used to have a belief that like I had to abandon her and like she was you hear the default character a lot right now, like that's a buzz term. And I have adopted the attitude and the mindset, and I've helped, I've been a high performance coach and a fitness and transformation coach for over 26 years. Now I'm a full-time writer, and being able to rewrite that as she is a part of me. She's along for the ride. She served a purpose. She still serves a purpose. So there's times when in my life, your back's against the wall, you got pressure, you got stress, injury, illness, kid. I'm on my second marriage, which is great, but like life still happens to you. And that mentality, that survivor, that go-getter, that leader, that fierce, make it happen, like I'll do whatever it takes, rather than going into desperation mode of doing things out of desperation, out of urgency, out of, oh my God, like what do I do now? And not having that faith is what can she like help me with now without being desperate, without going back to her full force. But if you can pull out like that, hey, she's in the back seat, she's not driving anymore, but she's like on my team, so she's here to like tag team in and out. So like I think we have it's like we have multiple identities that we're living with rather than we've got the little girl in us. We've got that future self, especially for those of us that are on the rise. We're building our businesses. I just reinvented mine again. You have to be able to know, like, who's driving today, who's leading, who do I need? And so I think rather than it haunting us, like she's along for the ride. Like I'm never getting rid of her, and that's okay. I don't want to because I need that like tenacity in her sometimes. But then knowing, hey, my future self, right? Like this best-selling writer, this screenwriter, this ghostwriter that's on a wait list, like she's awesome and amazing, and she's driving from a different identity that doesn't operate out of have to, I must, or survival, or I'm going to go homeless again, or a scarcity type mindset, or I'm going to get abandoned and left behind. So it's really about just tapping into, I think, like current day where you're at right now, what needs to get done, what you want to get done, and which version of you is best suited to like help you in that moment.
Yeah, so good, so true. Because they that survival version of yourself is a part of you.
Yeah, and she's strong. She's very strong and bold, and I think a lot of women in their 40s, early the Gen Xers, like she's strong, she's bold. It's either that or you're the good girl, right? And the quiet one and the silent one. So it's kind of like we were all or nothing, like black and white. Like there was no gray area for us. And I think now we're trying to figure out what this gray area, the messy middle, the in between, the becoming, the unbecoming, all the buzzwords that they want to throw out there is that we're trying to do it differently than our parents did. We're trying to do it differently, break the chains, be the curse breaker, be the rebels and the line leaders that has flexibility and adaptability in that unknown area. Even though inside of us, I think we know, like, I have this dream, I have this idea, I have this vision, I'm going to make it happen no matter what, but I don't have to do it out of survival. I don't have to do it out of force or manipulation or like gripping on really tight and trying to control everything. That you're allowed to have like I call it showing up ugly. You're allowed to have that like messy middle and like not knowing where you're going, but knowing where you're going at the same time. So
Yeah,
it's
because your higher self, your future self, knows exactly where
yeah.
you're going. She's the one, hopefully driving. Maybe not necessarily driving, but holding the map, telling you where to go.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you're using those backseat versions to help out navigate, not necessarily your backseat drivers, but the
Yeah.
ones saying like, no, you can get over this 5 mile bridge. Like you can do it. Like it might be a little scary, but you've got this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like being able to tap into those mindsets and kind of like behaviors that you did, but in a different way. So, like, you can learn to do things differently than you did before and not operate out of desperation. Or I used to call it when I ran my gym, I had a boutique brick and mortar gym, and I had an online fitness business as well, and trainer for 26 years. And I used to say like we would drug deal ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we because we needed to make rent and we had to pay the bills and we were just starting out. And so you would run and I see so many women doing this now, especially women coaches, where they lower their prices and they
Guilty.
do too much for free and they
Guilty.
overgive and they over deliver out of that like you want that validation, you want the work, you need the work instead of trusting your standards and setting them higher. And so I did that drug dealing for like so many years until eventually it didn't work because the people didn't show up, they didn't do what they were supposed to do anyways, they didn't appreciate it because they weren't investing not just financially, but like they weren't investing like their effort and their energy into, for me, it was trying to get them to transform their lives in a healthy way. And it was never about food. It was never about exercise. There was always a deeper root problem. And we would do so many things like free challenges and free trials and $99 and it made things so much worse. So like if there's a woman out there listening to this, like don't drug deal yourself, like stop like taking off your clothes for free, so to speak.
Yeah.
But we think they tell us, right, you have to give this for free and give this for free, and I think that's a bunch of BS. I've been in my own business for 2 years now. I have not seen the difference between it's just as easy to charge higher ticket for it or more money for it for the person that's willing to invest it. And I kind of look at it as like that's just not a way to operate your self-esteem. It doesn't help you. And how good are you going to serve your clients if you're not operating out of a higher standard for yourself and for what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of it because you're sitting there going, shit, how am I going to pay the mortgage, or how am I going to pay
Yeah,
rent, or
yeah. And that's real.
how am I going exactly. It's
It's
real.
real.
It's real. And that
Yeah,
survival mode kicks in
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's your basic needs that you're
yeah,
trying to meet.
yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
we've all been there where, you've known to say that from like drug dealing yourself, like cheating on yourself.
I have an addict as a brother, so I grew up with that. But it's just a funny way of because it's very real. And I think what we don't talk, we see the shiny, like we know social media is not all real. We know it's not overnight success, right? We know this. And until it is, until all of your 9 years, 5 years adds up, and one day
Hmm.
you've got like, oh my God, success, and you see like the fruit of all of your labor. But it's one of those things where people are not talking about, especially if you don't have, this isn't your side hustle, you don't have a 9 to 5. Like I don't have, this is it for me, right? So like my business is where I pay the bills, how I keep up my lifestyle, how I paid down old business debt, and nobody's talking about like what that actually looks like and takes, because it's very legit that we have day-to-day living expenses. There's medical. I mean, I don't need to tell you, like everybody knows we all have our list of
Hmm.
things that we have to pay for. And sometimes we think, oh, if I'm just going to charge less, we'll get more people that way and more volume. And then what I found it to do to me was really make me feel worse about myself, because then if somebody didn't opt in, right? If somebody didn't take it, or somebody didn't show up for the freebie, or somebody they didn't buy the $47 offer, the $97 offer. People I charged $20,000 for coaching and they still wouldn't show up even after that investment. So I had to detach myself from not the money of it, because that's a whole nother question, but from the attachment to whether it was, a small amount to help me pay this bill or that bill or whatever the outcome was. I had to really detach from the outcome and assert myself in the effort that I put behind it, if that makes sense.
That makes complete sense because it's about staying in integrity with
Yeah,
yourself and
yeah, exactly. Yep.
not betraying
Betraying. Yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
So,
yep.
what would you say is the hardest part of admitting that you're betraying yourself? And
Ugh.
how do you keep yourself from doing it again?
Yeah. Well, I actually, so for me, that's pretty easy because I have a saying called face your giants. And that's basically just facing yourself, being brave enough to face yourself. Um, I don't think it's hard after you have come to terms that you've been lying to yourself and cheating on yourself or out of integrity with
Hmm.
yourself. And you know that you are because it's in your gut. There's a I call it the silent roar. There's a restlessness inside you. It doesn't let up. You're doing, like, we all have the shoulding, right?
Yes.
And I'm one of those where if you think you should be doing something, go do it. You should be doing it. Where there's other people that are like, if you think you should, you probably shouldn't. I'm more the lines on that is like a check engine light for you, that you're supposed to be somewhere else, whether it's like in the middle of the day and you want to go get your nails done and you think you should be working or whatever. Like maybe you should be working and then the next day go get your nails done. Or maybe you're working and you're like, I want to go get my nails done. I don't know why that's coming up for
Yep.
me. Baby, I haven't gotten my nails done in a long time. But like that's one of the freedom things that we give ourselves. If you're a woman and you're an entrepreneur, you're self-employed, or you're building something from the ground up, you now have the freedom. You don't have to be stuck in your little prison 9 to 5 or adhere to a certain schedule. And I think that we need to listen to those internal like voices and those whispers and those, I call them silent roars, that don't leave you alone. They're telling you something's not right here. Something's off. And you've got to listen to that. And you're the only person that's going to know if you're cheating on yourself, or as you use the word betray, and I call it stop cheating on yourself. And you end up, it's relationships, friendships. You don't want to go to coffee or tea or networking and you find yourself in a room with people and you're like, I don't want to be here anymore. These aren't my people. I've outgrown them, or we're on different pages now. Leave, U-turn, pivot, walk away, exit, like stand up, get away from the table, go down the hall, open a new door, and go put yourself in a new situation where it challenges you to really think about, I think about yourself and what you want and be brutally selfish about it. I think that is the only way. And I'm sure lots of people will disagree with me, but I'm pretty selfish with my time and my energy, with my conversations, with what I do with my kids and my husband, with who I let in. And that has really allowed me to stay congruent with who I'm becoming, who I am right now, and who I used to be when she kind of pops back in. And that's just like a day to day, like, I don't want to be doing this anymore. I don't want to eat this anymore. I don't want to work out like this anymore. I don't want to beat myself into the ground anymore. I don't want to starve myself anymore. I don't want to count calories anymore. Like, and then, well, what do you want to do? What can we add in that you do want to do that puts you more at ease and at peace with yourself? So you're not at war with yourself. We've got like all these people walking around looking pretty on the outside, and I was one of them for many years. And on the inside, it's a hot mess. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's a hot mess. There you go. We're totally at war with ourselves. And one of my missions is to make sure, whether it was through my coaching and now my writing, and I have a thought leadership community, but where we're editing those pieces of our lives out. And I'm pretty, bold, and I guess the word that's coming up today is ruthless about it, but only you're going to know. And you already know. She already knows.
She
You
already
don't
knows.
have to tell her. She doesn't need another guru or another event or another podcast. She doesn't need anybody to tell her. She already knows what she's out of alignment with, out of integrity, betrayal. She already knows what she's doing that she does not want to do anymore. And I'll end it on this. It's as simple as deciding I'm done. Like, when a woman is done, she's done, but she's got to get to a level of done. Like, I call done, like, it's below angry. I mean, it is like done is like she's angry and has like rage and grief and all of that inside of her that she hasn't purged. Like, you got to get to a level of done to where you just flip the switch.
Yeah, it's that fuck this shit and like walking out the
Yes.
door.
Yeah. Yep. It's the Beyonce burning the car behind you. You're probably
Exactly.
like 30 years old now, but it's that level of, and or on the flip side, this is worth fighting for. This is worth the pain I'm going through, the suffering, the drug dealing moments, the and experimenting with it, because you're not going to know like if this works for you or not if you don't allow yourself to experiment and give yourself off the hook. Like, don't beat yourself up because you did a drug deal moment, right? Or you went into your default character or whatever you want to call it. Like, don't get hung up on, just use it as an experiment and data to like move on. Like, oh, not doing that again, another lesson learned, right? Like, instead of punishing yourself.
Yeah, and it's also looking at what operating system are you running on? Are you running in a survival mode? Are you running a certain pattern or program over again where it's like, stop,
Yep.
check
Yep.
yourself, look at where you're operating from and go, wait, is this operating system serving me anymore? Or do I need to upgrade to the new operating system?
Yeah.
You, like most of us at this stage within our lives, have reinvented yourself multiple times. What's the most destructive myth people cling to about reinvention? And how has that myth personally wrecked you before it rebuilt you?
Man, that's a tough question. I have a saying, the reckoning is your revival. And what I mean by that is the deconstruction, the wreckage, the thing that came for you, that you had to leave behind, whatever it was for you. That came to basically revive you, build you into the next person. I'm a believer, so I believe that like it's getting you closer to where God wants you to be as a human. whether it's your calling, as a wife, as a mother, as an entrepreneur, a leader, whoever it is that you are trying to be. So when you're reinventing yourself, um, well, it ain't glamorous. It's very lonely. I don't necessarily think that those are myths about it. It is the isolation, but it doesn't have to be. Like, there's a lot of isolation involved. There's a lot of downtime and quiet time involved. Going back to Gen X, we don't rest, we don't sit, that's equated with laziness. And when you're reinventing yourself, it doesn't happen all at once. Like, this isn't like a cold turkey thing. I think those can also be like, we can't just get dressed up and put on fancy clothes and big fancy sunglasses and wear designer things and go act like a millionaire and manifest like all this money out of thin air. That's a effing lie. That's a really big fucking lie. It doesn't just happen overnight. It's in very small doses of your patience being tested like again and again. And the very thing that you're trying to reinvent is the thing that is going to absolutely annihilate you. Um, and I think that's where people quit. I think it's where they give up. It is when you're on your knees and you're crying, praying, screaming, and the snot's coming out of your nose and you have the ugly red face cry, or you're in the car hitting the steering wheel and you're screaming at the top of your lungs, like however it is that you process, or you keep it all bottled up, that has got to be purged, completely purged from you, whether it's through those ways or exercise. I'm very into like the somatic stuff. So like I do it through movement and exercise and vocalizing and communicating it. And I think that's probably one of the last ones is voicing it fearlessly out loud that you're not that person anymore, to yourself and to the people around you, letting go, like cutting ties with those people, those rooms, those, and they could have been your ride or dies. And that recently happened to me, like in the past 2 years, people that you think are coming with you on the ride there. I'm like, there's no ride or dies. Me and my kids are my ride or dies. Like that I have come to this realization, letting go of that like fantasy that like the same people are always going to be on the journey with you, letting go of that. Because when you reinvent yourself, they may not be coming because they're not ready to go, because they don't like where you're going, they don't believe in where you're going, they secretly want you to not win, or they're just holding you back because you're trying to carry their weight. That was my case a lot. I was constantly carrying like dead weight and I couldn't do it anymore. And I vocalized it multiple times, but I kept going back to help them, to save them, to rescue them. And you can't rescue anybody else and reinvent anybody else. And it's just deciding, like I said in the beginning, to be ruthlessly selfish for yourself, because that's your future. And as a mom, it's for my kids and it's for the little girl in me and it's for the money and it's for the best-selling books and it's for all the lives that I'll impact with my writing, right? And it's for all the other women that'll like read the books and the words, or coach with me, and they'll be like, holy shit, she changed my life and now she's gonna go do her damn dream, whatever that might be. But reinvention is, it's inevitable. I think that's probably the thing. You can't run from it. You cannot ignore it. And that's probably my answer there. I have to talk it out before I get there, Michelle. I think it's inevitable. You cannot push it away. You can't run from it. If it's coming for you, you better just throw your hands up in the air and let it take you where it's going to take you, because you cannot, you can drag it out, you can delay it, you can camouflage it, but that shit's coming for you. So you better just like go with it.
Yeah, because if you don't go with it, it's still going to take you along for that ride, and that ride is not going to
Yeah.
be as
Yeah.
pleasant as you had
Nope.
hoped for.
Nope. No, I'm thinking of like rip current.
Yeah.
Like you're out there, and if you don't go with it, you're drowning. You're done. And I think a lot of women get caught. Like I've dealt with a lot of clients that have like the golden handcuffs, right? And they're stuck in a corporate job and making bank, but then they're miserable. Their health is miserable. Their marriages are miserable, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and they won't let go of the paycheck and the security. Yet they're drowning in their own lives and they're hiding it on the inside. And that's one of the things that I'm very, very passionate about, is helping wake that up, to be able to wake that up inside somebody so that they don't drown in their own kind of rejection of themselves.
Yeah, that's one of the ways where you and I are very similar, is, in giving women that permission just to own who you are.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Like what's wrong with that? I think that's where we're getting it wrong right now. not just in the workplace, but in the world. I think that if we all wore our communication of who we are and what we want like a weapon on a holster on our belts, and revealing who we really are, what we really think and believe, this world would be a much kinder place, because you would know where you stand and you wouldn't be apologizing for anything, and you would know who your people are and who your people aren't, and we wouldn't be putting on shows or sugarcoating anything. And I think there's a level of respect that comes with that. I respect it when a woman is like, no, period, or not for me, period, without explaining herself or dumbing it down and watering herself down. But I think that we're missing that fearless communication right now, to be able to speak your truth, like without being an a-hole, right? Without being,
Exactly, exactly.
we're not walking around. I tell my kids every day before they leave the house, don't be a moron and stay away from morons. You don't have to be a bitch about it. You don't have to be rude or obnoxious or abrasive, but you can certainly present it and communicate your truth and stand on that. And if it upsets somebody, that's on them, not on you.
Exactly. You can be confident and still be humble.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we want that. Like we don't, like I said, we don't want to be walking around like treating people. The whole purpose is to bring more kindness and more
Hmm.
patience and more understanding and connection. And I think communication is the key to that. I mean, if we're not connecting with people because we're not communicating. And then when we are communicating, we're not telling the truth, like the real truth.
Because we're sugarcoating it because we don't want to hurt someone else's. We don't.
Absolutely. So I'm the person that doesn't care. So I'm like, do you really want me to tell you the truth? Because be careful, because it's coming from me. And it's out of, I wouldn't say love, right? Because I reserve that for my kids and my husband and my family or whatever, but it's out of, you don't want to stay the same. So don't you want that person like calling out your potential and your possibilities, and your patterns? Like if we're witnessing something in you or reflecting like a mirror back, right? Wouldn't you want somebody to tell you? Wouldn't you want to know the truth? It's like the friend that marries the dude that you don't want him to marry, and you don't tell
Hmm.
her until like 10 years later and it's too late and she's getting a divorce and in a terrible spot. Like you would want to know. I would want to know the truth. And then you get to decide what you want to do with it.
Yeah, and it's like you talk about that machete mentality. What is the ugliest truth the machete mentality has exposed for you? And I don't want the polished version, but the one you'd rather people didn't know about.
Yeah. Wow, that's a good one. As a whole, the machete mentality is basically find a way, make a way. And it is literally like if you were to envision taking a machete and just clearing the path. I'm the first one in my family to graduate college, have a job, publish a book, break some of these chains that were passed down in my family. No addiction, healthy with my body, like all of these things that ran rampant through my family. However, it was about 11 years ago, I had a rare infection and it overtook my body, in my spine and in my hip and my blood, my bones. I was septic. I was in ICU. They misdiagnosed me for about 6 weeks. I almost died. They pretty much left me for dead, sent me home with like white blood cell count that was 38,000 plus. And I was advocating and fighting for, but I looked fine. But on the inside, my body was basically eating itself alive, killing itself. I was rotting from the inside out. And they had, eventually we found it, had to do emergency surgery. They removed part of my spine. And I had like a lot, like the septic ICU. I had to learn to walk again. I had a PIC line, infectious disease doctors, the whole 9 yards for quite some time. And I tell you all of this because it was awful. It was brutal. My kids were like 4 and 6 at the time, or 5 and 3 at the time. They were really young. I was in a place where I was alone. My husband was at work, and during that time, there was, a disconnect in our marriage. We were not doing well at all. There was the big, pretty house, fancy car, 2 kids, dog, cat. We had it all. But beneath the surface, it was a hot mess. And I was going to the gym and getting attention from other men. I was lying, doing a lot of things, betraying not only the marriage and myself, and living a double life. And when that happened, when I almost died and had to learn how to walk again and come back from that, that part of me did. I was no longer that person anymore. And so I came out the other side completely different. And you would think that it would fix your marriage and make everything better, but it did the opposite of me. I realized I was not going to live a lie anymore. I didn't want to live a double life. I didn't want to lie or cheat or betray or not communicate, numb myself with over exercising and being super fit. Um, um, I ended up going through a separation and a divorce. My stepmom died. There was about 10 major factors that happened in that period of about 6 months after I got out of the hospital that just completely wrecked me. It devastated my life. And we went through a divorce. I moved, cross states with no job, no money, no house, going through the divorce. We were living separately. And I decided to start my business and basically teach women, and there was guys at the time, but how to really stop cheating on yourself. And so I used what happened to me. I have a dead leg, I'm missing part of my spine, lots of chronic pain, and those are things that I've dealt with over the past like 11 years. I use that as a platform to help other people transform their lives so they would stop numbing themselves with food, with alcohol, with laziness, with avoidance, really being addicted to avoidance is what I found out. And it was avoiding the marriage problems, avoiding the lies, avoiding, and then self medicating, whether it was with cheating, right? Or food or alcohol or whatever, shopping, gambling, porn, like all of the ugly things, having affairs, married men only being magnetized to you because you're not available for love, because you don't deserve it, because you've been cheating on yourself and punishing yourself. And there's so many high performing women that do this and walk around looking like Fifth Avenue perfect. And on the inside, there's a completely different life going on. And so as a writer, we have a story A and a story B. And story A is the external, what's happening, what everybody sees. And story B is the internal transformation. And my mentality that I was going to make this dream happen, when I was sitting there at the lawyer's table in mediation, they were like, you're going to have to get a job at Walmart and work $10 an hour, $8 an hour, whatever it was at the time. And I'm like, the fuck I am. Like, I'm making this happen. I started my gym from a dirt field. I had a partner with me at the time that was my boyfriend. And we started with like one person, then two people. And it was like my cousin and my mom that would show up. It was so embarrassing and humiliating because I had come from rock star status. Everybody loved me at my old gym. I taught for tons of people. And then I come down to nothing. But I couldn't go back to the lying. I couldn't go back to the hiding. I didn't believe God saved me from death to continue living that way. So I didn't have a choice. The reinvention came for me, and it came in the form of we're about to kill you or you're going to be catapulted out of this. And we ended up within like 9 months having a brick and mortar gym and growing it slowly over the years. And it was booming and we did multiple six figures and it was really successful. Go as a single mom going through a divorce, build a business as an entrepreneur where I was paying like eight to $12,000 a month for like a brick and mortar gym and all the marketing and the ad. This was back when like 2018, 17, 19, when Facebook ads were cheap and we were throwing money at Facebook ads. And I worked with Alex Hormozy for a long time and it was great. And they taught us like, how to make the money. And I made my gym super successful. I was like 3 months behind on paying rent. It was like $30,000 in back rent due on my gym. My partner left me. I mean, if you can name every bomb that would happen, it happened. And then I got evicted from my house because I couldn't pay my bills at home and my gym bills. So I had to choose, who do I believe? Like, where's my faith going to go? And I chose my future. So that's what it ended us up homeless. We had no place to go. We lived in the gym for 6 months on yoga mats, on blow up mattresses. We had like a 6 foot folding table and an electric skillet to make eggs in the back room. We hid it from our this tough. Yeah, we hid it for years. For years, because even after I got out, we still continued to hiding it until I put it in my book. We hid it from our clients. Like the first client would show up at 5:15 in the morning and not leave until 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. So we would have to clean up where we slept every day before they arrived. They would tell us to go home and have a great night, and we had nowhere to go, and we didn't tell them. And I would get my kids ready for school in the gym. That was tough. That really sucked. And they were little. I think at this time they turned like 8. like 8 and 6 at the time, and we celebrated a birthday in the gym because I had no place to give him a birthday party. And it was really humbling. But the entire time, I'm fighting the old me. I'm going through, and then the relationship became abusive. So I'm going through all of that. Meanwhile, I'm motivating people. I'm a group fitness instructor. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a gym owner. I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to make ends meet. And then my car gets repossessed from the car parking lot. I mean, it was one blow after another. And my faith that like God has got something bigger for me to keep going, I just stayed with it. And it was probably about 6 months after living in the gym, I finally told I called like a house meeting with all my clients, and I told them, I just told all my clients, this is where I'm at. I've been living here. I don't have a place to go. We broke up. He left me. I'm doing this all on my own. I'm giving you the nutshell version. And I exposed everything and I just let it all out. And their support was phenomenal. Their acceptance was phenomenal. And it allowed me to breathe. And then it allowed me to get into an apartment, meet my husband, came walking through the gym doors like a year later, get a house. And that's part of the revival. And now I have a 5-bedroom home and we live on a wildlife preserve and everybody has their own bedrooms and there's no more hiding. I refuse to ever go back to lying to myself or to others. And I spot it from a mile away. It makes me a great coach and a really good writer because I see the blind spots. I see the lies. I see where women shrink themselves and silence themselves and try to wear the mask. I can see right through it because I did it for about 7 years. And had my mentality not been, I'm going to make it through this, I'm going to find a way, I created programs and services. I made shit up, Michelle, to train people into new programs. And these were $3,000, $5,000,
Mhm.
$12,000 deals and programs to help people with their health and their marriages and get visas and start businesses and quit their jobs. And that's pretty much how it helped me go from fitness trainer to mindset coach to high performance coach, get certified, train with Brenda Bouchard and Anthony Trucks and guys like that and get in rooms like that. It just helped me, but I had to expose it. And I could have had the mentality of give up, go get a 9 to 5 job, my degrees in communications and journalism, go back to PR. And I just kept fighting. And then the most recent would be doing my childhood dream. Now I'm a full-time writer. I was told you can't be a writer, you can't make money, you'll never make a life out of it. Just this April, I said, fuck this. I'm done coaching. I'm done with the fitness business. Like, I want to write. I'm 48 years old. I've put in 9.5 years. I can do this. Let's go again. And so I ripped the rug out from underneath me and basically burned it all down to go again. And it's the mentality that each step was getting me closer, or each machete whack, basically closer to where I'm at now. And whether that's the end all be all, I think it is because I have 7 books that I'm working on and I'm a ghostwriter for other clients. Um, it's, I could have given up. I could have settled. I could have sat in it. I could have stayed in survivor mode. And I saw my family do that and I just refused to give up on myself. So, and I still, every day it's a fight. Every day it's get up and do it. It's a very long winded answer, but it was a lot of cheating on myself, and you can change. Like, I believe that because I've changed. I have been faithful to myself for, I think I'm on year almost 9 now. I call it sober leadership. So like, I don't do any of those things that even down to like, if I don't drink Diet Coke, I don't drink Diet Coke. Like once I quit something, I quit it. My clients used to call me the queen of quit. So it's like no more lying, no cheating, no like stepping out, no dumbing yourself down. It's if this isn't in alignment with the next step, you just don't do it. And it's just that decision to whack the shit that's in your way. It's been 9 years of being, it's no different than just what I say earlier, that being addicted to avoidance. Like we avoid ourselves and you got to stop and face it. That's how
Yeah,
I've done.
that's what it takes is that determination. It's, oh, I like to say it's accepting where you're at and acknowledging, which are the two hardest
Yeah.
things to do. And then
Yeah.
you can start moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, the acknowledgement is a big one. Like here we are, it's not forever, it's temporary.
Hmm.
This will pass. But acknowledging is where people get it wrong. They don't want to know where they're starting at. That's why women don't get on the scale. And I know a lot
Yeah.
of my stuff comes back to fitness. Women avoid the scale. We avoid our bank account. We avoid the conversation with our husband, right? I mean, we're avoiding things, and that's not acknowledging where you're currently at. And if you can just get through, like, you're only going to have a hard conversation with yourself or with somebody if you actually care enough and love yourself enough and love that person enough that you want something to change. Otherwise, like, move on. Like, don't have the conversation. It's not worth your energy. I don't consider that ghosting. I just consider it, I've moved on, I've grown from this, I'm past this. This isn't where I want to be anymore. But if, we were best friends, Michelle, and we had a falling out, but I really cared and wanted you in my future, we're going to have a very uncomfortable conversation, but that would repair and help us reconnect and understand where each other is at so that you can move forward. And that's acknowledging, right? Like, this relationship's important to me, my body's important to me, my bank account's important to me, insert whatever area it is in your life, right? So the fact that you say acknowledgement, I mean, that's key right there, I think.
Yeah. Oh, as we're acknowledging, it's all like you said, taking that machete to it as to where the machete needs to go, and as we're acknowledging it, you help others write their stories into a legacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what's one part of your own story you'd rather leave out of your legacy? But no, you can't if you wanted it to be real.
Yeah. My initial answer is like nothing, right? Because I'm an open book,
Mm.
because I pride myself on being transparent and vulnerable and real and bold. I'm not afraid to rise with where I'm at. But I would think we can we can connect and relate and be transparent without showing all our skeletons. But your skeletons are the thing that is probably going to tell your story and get you to be successful. Like, you're going to be, and I don't like to say you're going to help the person that you didn't have and who you used to be, and that might not be your story. Like, that's just overused. But a lot of the women are afraid to tell their story, or if I'm afraid to tell something of my story, it's usually because you're not over it yet. You're still grieving from it. You're still pissed off, mad, hurt, angry, resentful, bitter. You're still hoping it's going to work out. There's still something that you're latched onto that you haven't detached from, or you still, I don't know if it's shame or guilt, but it's one of those things that you're unsettled with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a part of your story that needs to be told yet. You have got to be 100% standing in full conviction of, like, your story, like, back to the sober leadership. I'm healed from this. I did this. I accomplished this. This happened to me. And I'm good with it. I'm good with however it gets portrayed, whatever they want to think, take it out of context. So for me, that would be, I'm not going to go badmouth my parents or my brother, or I've been very open that he was an addict. He is an addict. That was a really hard part of my childhood. I'll well up talking about it. I lost a brother, even though he's still alive. Grieving that sucks. It hurts. I'm angry about it. And then I forgive. And then I'm angry again. So that's a part, like, I may write about it, but it's not something I'm going to dedicate like a whole book to or a platform to. So I think that parts of stories that, if you're going to put it out there to be judged, to be rejected, to be seen, to be heard, to be witnessed, right? And stand up there and talk about it and cement it, you've got to be very, very confident in what you're saying and telling. And so I only say that because I wouldn't want, I had a good childhood. I had good parents. They loved me. They did the best that they could. We had plenty of falling outs and ups and downs. I don't have some crazy, like, they beat me and abused me story, but definitely it took me years of inner work, of personal development work, of therapy, of counseling to deal with, my childhood wounds. We all have them, but you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to keep them. So I think if that answers your question, and I found that with a lot of the women that want to tell their story and don't jump on it, they're like, they have a story, because not everybody's a writer. And that's the thing. Like, you may have a story, but you're not a writer. But that's why you hire a ghostwriter, so that they can write your story in your voice and your tone, the way that you want it. And then you can become an author without actually, be surprised how many people have not written their own books. Just because you have a story doesn't make you a writer and an author, if that makes sense. And it's those women that are brave enough to tell their story and to share it with somebody like me so that I can write it for them and get it out there, that will affect others. And then allow the world to know like what they went through, what they stand for, what they did with it, why they didn't settle in it, and how they're using it to be a keynote speaker or a coach or a consultant, build their platform, so to speak. But I hope that opens your
Yes, absolutely. Because it's that whole concept of your mess becomes your message.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It does. But you've got to be free of the shame. You
Yes.
have to be free of the guilt. Yeah, you cannot do it with those little like cartoon bubbles still like attached to you, because you won't tell the truth. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not putting out anything that's not honest and true and genuine, but we don't, and just because you leave it out doesn't like make you a liar, make you not being fully, honest, but we can relate to people without giving all the details. It's like the friend that
Hmm.
tells you like my cousin's brother's cousin twice, and you're like, you've lost me. I don't care. Like I'm the person that literally walks away from the
Yeah.
conversation. Like, I don't care. Don't
Same here.
bye. Peace out. I do not care about like, I care about you and my client and the story or the goal that we're trying, very mission, driven.
Hmm.
So I would walk away, but you can still connect and relate without sharing all of your skeletons. That's not what it's about. It's about them witnessing themselves in you.
Absolutely. Robyn, this has been an amazing conversation.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience?
I think it would be to tell your story. Don't keep it inside. And it would be to not give up on yourself. Do not quit. Like if you have that restlessness inside, don't quit. Like find a way to make it happen. Go get my book, The Machete Mentality. It's on Amazon, but find a way to make it happen. You can limit yourself with choices and decisions that you don't make. And it's better to fuck up and fail because nobody's judging you. Nobody cares. We're all too wrapped up in our own thing. Ain't nobody watching you. Nobody cares. So forget everybody else, right? And go do your damn thing. Don't wait. There is an urgency to life. At life and death, well, 13 surgeries, 2 life and death ones. There's an urgency to your life. And you do not want to have to go through something like that in order to have that urgency. And so it's, even if it's just like a little bit every single day, but you got to do the damn thing. You've got to do the damn thing. And she knows exactly what the damn thing is. So that's, I want to inspire courage every day. And it's why I wear my hat. Like I'm a little hat girl, but you got to go do the damn thing and don't care what anybody thinks. Be ruthlessly selfish for yourself and for your dreams, because in the end, the people that you impact and the people that you love will get the benefits of that. So it's ultimately not selfish. It's selfish to not do your damn thing. So that's what I leave with people. Fight for it. You're gonna have to fight for it, but fight for it. You're worth the fight.